I see our next speaker here, Michael Mills, the president and CEO of Body and Mind, ticker BMMJ. Can we bring Michael on? Yes, we can. There he is.
How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How's your day going?
Good morning, Spencer. And hey, look, I just wanted to echo a huge shout out for Jason and the entire team at Benzinga. What a great week for them and incredible recognition. I spent roughly 10 years in the media industry with the Financial Post newspaper, and watching Benzinga grow and seeing the success this week, it's just fantastic. And we've done such a great job being able to share information from companies to investors in a way that newspapers couldn't have even imagined 20 years ago. So congratulations to the entire team.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. So that being said, I see we've got your deck here, guys. Let's get them up. There the slides are. Michael Mills, I'm going to give you the floor and let you tell us all about Body and Mind. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. So Body and Mind is a U.S. multi-state operator, and we're going to talk about forward-looking statements here. So if you'd like to read this in detail, please go to our website and you can read it in detail. We started roughly 6 years ago in Nevada, so we've got a real depth of experience in the company. And this slide just shows very quickly how quickly we've expanded over the last 5 or 6 years. We have retail operations, we have cultivation operations, we have manufacturing and processing facilities as well. So our vision at Body and Mind is very simple. We identify low-cost ways to get into new markets. In general, we've done that through license application, where we've gone into a state that's been opening up for generally medical cannabis. We've won the application. We've built out, whether it's a dispensary or cultivation. In other cases, we've gone in and we found good acquisition targets, fair prices. We've also stayed away from what was a very expensive acquisition time in the market. We have the depth and the experience, having been in the business for roughly 6 years, to optimize not just the operations as we're building them out from scratch, but also operations that we may take over. Our ability and our depth of experience allows us to assess very quickly whether we want to move forward with whether it's a specific state or an acquisition opportunity. And I think that one of the things, if you go back and look at the history of the company, we've done an exceptionally good job at executing and doing what we said we would do. Just give you a rough idea of our award-winning lifestyle brand. A lot of cannabis operators talk about the quality of their product. We like to point to some of the awards that we've won over the years, and it's a pretty wide range of awards, from Las Vegas Cannabis Cups to High Time Awards to a whole host of awards, not just for our flower, but also for our edibles and also for our extracts. I'm just going to go into some of the states that we operate in. Our home state was Nevada. We got our first licenses there roughly 6 years ago, and started with cultivation and production. When Nevada opened, it was a very small medical market. And I think if anyone goes to Nevada on a regular basis or goes to Las Vegas on a regular basis, you've noticed this, particularly after adult use came in, this huge change in cannabis, both advertising and availability, but also attitude. And I think that Las Vegas attitude is really symbolic of what's going on across the entire country as more and more states legalize. So when we came in and it was a medical market, we did a few things, and I think we did them really well. We got good at cultivating. We had great strains. We had great growers. We were in all the dispensaries. We came out with a strong line of concentrates, so oils, edibles, extracts, and some fantastic edibles. And we were in a great position as the Nevada and the Las Vegas market moved from just medical to adult use. And from an educational standpoint, this was a huge opportunity for a lot of people from not just the United States, but from all over the world, coming into Las Vegas, coming into Nevada, and having the opportunity to understand cannabis, to talk to bud tenders, and to have, for many people, their very first experience with cannabis. And we've really grown with that market. We've got roughly 70 SKUs. We have about an 18,000 square foot cultivation facility. And last year we opened up an 8,000 square foot production facility. Ohio was our second market. We came into Ohio with winning applications when that state opened up. And we love the Ohio market. There's just over 11.5 million people in the state. And there's less than 60 dispensaries that are open right now. We were probably one of the first dozen dispensaries to open in Ohio. And, it's a medical state. We wanted to get our dispensary open, get it up, optimized, running, develop a strong clientele. And we've just recently opened our first production facility in that state. Roughly a month ago, we expect to have our first products out relatively soon in Ohio. And that's going to give us the ability to expand the Body and Mind brand into the state of Ohio. California was our third state. We came into California with an acquisition. We acquired a Long Beach dispensary. At the time, it was medical, and it's been moved to adult use now. And we also acquired a license to build out a dispensary in San Diego. And our team did such an incredible job building that out. We actually got it open just right in the middle of COVID, April of last year. And when you look at the challenges around construction, COVID, and certainly opening a dispensary during COVID, it was a fantastic piece of work by our entire team. When you think about opening up a new dispensary, you think about, having a huge grand opening and bringing all the brands and really having, a huge event. And instead we were buying cleaning supplies and plexiglass and coverings. But, at the end of the day, that dispensary's done really well. And we continue to like parts of the California market. Our focus has always been on limited license jurisdictions. And even though California is a state that's legal across the entire state, roughly 60% of the state of California does not allow cannabis operations. And many of the jurisdictions have said we're only going to have a limited number of licenses. So those are typically the areas that we focus on. Third state that we got into is Arkansas. Again, we came in with an in-state partner in Arkansas, won a license in that state, opened the dispensary in April of last year. And it's a Body and Mind branded dispensary. We also have cultivation that's part of that license. We decided that we wanted to get the dispensary open, optimized, running really well, and start the cultivation a little bit later. We're probably about 2 or 3 weeks away from our very first harvest in Arkansas. So we're really excited to start to see that cultivation bringing not just more revenue, but a Body and Mind product into our own dispensary there. Michigan's a new state for us. We've just announced that we're entering Michigan with a full vertical. So we want a license for a dispensary, which is under construction right now, also cultivation and production, and we expect to start construction on those very soon. The cultivation's planned for 50,000 square feet. We're going to do it in 2 phases, 20,000 square feet to start and 30,000 square feet as a second phase. And we're really excited to get into that state. We think that Michigan's a fantastic state. Just to give you a rough idea of our financials, if you go back 5 quarters, we were doing roughly $1 million a quarter, and our last quarter was $7 million. So that gives us a run rate of about $28 million, and that's in US funds. Our gross profit, as you can see, continues to climb. And I think most importantly, our adjusted EBITDA has moved from negative to roughly $1.5 million last quarter. And we continue to see improvement as we're bringing new facilities on and as we're bringing new revenue streams on. Just a quick note on our balance sheet. Total assets roughly $42 million. We had $1.3 million in cash as of April 30th, which is our last reported quarter. We secured an $11.1 million loan of roughly $6 million, which we've taken in July. So our cash is actually significantly higher than that. And we're fully funded for all the facilities that I've talked about earlier, and expect to bring those on into revenue in the near term. Just a quick update on the leadership. Myself, I've been in business for roughly 25 years. I've been in manufacturing, media, technology, finance. Again, I worked at the Financial Post for a long time, so I have a great appreciation for what the folks at Benzinga are doing and have done and will continue to do. Trip Hoffman's our Chief Operating Officer. He's got a great background. He was the past CEO of a Colorado licensed cannabis cultivator and also ran dispensaries. But prior to that, he was in the fund business, and he's been CEO. He's raised a ton of money for big companies. He's also got a PhD in physics. And Tripp saw the opportunity in Colorado years ago as it was beginning to emerge, and realized that it was something that was going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And he got out of the fund industry and actually took a job as a trimmer to learn the entire business, and went from being a trimmer very quickly to managing a grow, to writing software to optimize the grow, to taking over additional responsibilities. And we met Tripp years ago. He was consulting, and he was going into a whole bunch of different operations and making them better. And his ability to understand every single step of the way, we call it from seed to sale, is incredible. And he and the team that work with him have done an incredible job building this company, and have just a very deep bench of talent to continue to work for him. Our CFO, Dong Shim, has worked for a number of public companies. He's got a great background in capital markets. Alexis Podesta is the past Secretary of California Business, Consumer Services, and Housing Agency. And the agency at the time was the agency that took California from medical cannabis to adult use. So just a huge step for California. A lot of people think that California has been legal for years and years and years. Well, it was legal for medical for years and years and years. And in the last few years has moved to adult use. And Brent Reuter is a director. He's held a number of positions with Onyx, CIBC, has very deep capital markets experience, understands debt and debt facilities very well, and has been a fantastic advisor. So just some discussion around our execution and some of the milestones that we have coming up. We've executed by winning a number of licenses, and the licenses that we always go after are what we would call limited license jurisdictions. And we feel that those are really the best ones to focus on. The states that we're in are generally limited license states. The jurisdictions that we're in, if a state is not limited licensed, are generally limited license jurisdictions. We've had good success winning licenses. We won our licenses in Nevada, Ohio, Arkansas, and we're really looking forward to new states as they continue to open up. And I think that's one of the big catalysts in the United States is there are states that are opening up, on a relatively continuous basis, and it's opportunity, particularly for a group like ourselves who have license wins and skills in writing license applications, but also the ability to keep an eye on all these states and where they are in their licensing process. We look at, on the acquisition front, we look at a lot of acquisitions, and we walk away from almost all of them. We looked at dozens and dozens of acquisitions in 2019, in 2018, and they all looked outrageously expensive to us. And in general, most of them were. We're seeing some price discovery in some markets that is bringing the cost of acquisitions into a more normal opportunity. But we're very picky about the acquisitions. The culture needs to fit, the price needs to be right, and it's tough to find those in the cannabis industry. I expect we'll continue to find them, but we're very, very stringent about where we'll move into on the acquisition front. One of the key things about winning licenses is getting them developed as fast as possible. We have a development team who are fantastic, and when we have a license in hand, our ability to move quickly, whether it's securing real estate, whether it's getting building approvals, architect drawings, all the processes that are required to move to get to a cash flow situation, we feel that we can do that in a very fast way, in a very efficient way, in a very low cost way. I talked about efficiency. We really have a very deep bench of talent. Our cultivators, our producers, our general managers, our retail folks, most of them have been in this business for years and years and years, and they understand cannabis, they understand consumer behavior, they understand how plants operate. We have a grow team that's doing R&D that is continually coming out with new strains that people love. So we have a real ability not just to be efficient, but also to be innovative. So just a few reasons to consider BAM. We have near-term revenue growth as we continue to open new facilities that I had talked about. We're well capitalized at this point. We have a tight capital structure with only roughly 110 million shares outstanding. We've shown the market that we've been excellent stewards of capital. Our product quality, if you're ever in any of the states that we operate, I think you'll agree it's fantastic. We have license applications that are out there that are pending. We focus on the right jurisdictions, which are limited license jurisdictions. We laid out our strategy a couple of years ago, which was really, we had one facility in Las Vegas, and we had a number of facilities to open and get to cash flow positive as fast as we could. We laid that out and we delivered on that. We're really repeating that strategy again going forward. We have a proven track record. We leverage experience and technology. We have strong management. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah. Hey, Michael. Real quick before we run out of time here, you focus on markets with limited licensing, but within those markets you're in, how important is location?
Oh, location is key, and I think the best way to look at that is to go back and look at the Colorado model. The Colorado has been open for roughly 10 years. There are still dispensaries there that are in what I would consider A locations that are doing very, very significant numbers, despite the fact that it's not really that limited license wise. So, location is incredibly important. I think that in a brand new market where there are perhaps very, very few licenses given out, location is a little bit less important. But when you look at that Colorado model or some of the other models, it's really retail, and it is incredibly important.
And then there's a couple questions from the chat. You may have touched on this, and maybe he missed it. But when are you planning to cultivate? This is from Solar Up.
So we're cultivating in Nevada right now. We're cultivating in Arkansas right now, and we're building out Michigan. So the Michigan build out, I wouldn't want to put a timeline on it right now, but that's probably a year out before we have a building that's producing, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay. And then Mystic Monkey was very excited for this presentation. Wants to know about the partnership with Australis, if that's still on, and if you can update us about that.
Yeah, I can give you just a bit of a history there. In 2018, when Aurora was a powerhouse, they had a number of U.S. assets that they had to move into a different company in order to qualify for their Toronto and NYSE listing. And so they started a new company called Australis. They funded it. And one of the very first investments that they made was Body and Mind. They owned 40% of Body and Mind. And I think at the time it was considered, potentially a platform to launch Australis and as a multi-state operator. And over time, and anybody who's been in this industry for a while will remember the summer of 2019 when the cannabis market sort of fell apart and the capital market shut. Australis at that point decided that they were going to be a CBD company and started to divest their THC assets. And so really since mid 2019, Australis has been selling out of their position of Body and Mind. I think they're down to roughly 8% or a little bit less at this point. So their role as a strategic investor, and they were incredibly helpful in 2018, early 2019. They helped us with some of our acquisitions, and it was a great strategic partnership. But when one of the partners decides that they're going to get out of THC, that's a little bit different. We feel that THC is the place to be, and really since then it's been a function of unwinding that strategic agreement. So we're the strategic agreement's over. They're out of that at this point. I think they're holding at this point is probably in the 7 or 8% range.
All right, I'm sorry that we can't get to all these questions. Michael Mills is the CEO of Body and Mind. Michael, I guess, do you want to tell people where they can contact you, how to contact you, how to learn more?
Yeah, you bet. Just, we love questions. Shoot an email to ir@bodyandmind.com. Okay. And Spencer, thanks so much for the time, and congratulations again on the success at Benzinga.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. Michael Mills, Body and Mind.